This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. I am Amanda, your host of the SmackDown review. And guys, I know you've already heard this because Matt kindly gave a shout out on his show this week, but I am back on Twitter or X or whatever. So please give me a follow. I am had to change my handle because I couldn't get back into it after changing my phone and it was all too much hassle. So I'm off of the old one and onto a new one, and I am at Amanda SD Review. Give me a follow. Let's have some weekday chat about wrestling. So Goldberg wants Gunther for his last match, probably the worst kept secret in WWE history. And poor Liv Morgan looked like she was shaping up for some really great storylines and a nice little run, and gets hit by a total freak accident. Apparently she could be out for 3 to 4 months, so wishing her a speedy recovery. And I guess that means that her and Raquel are going to have to relinquish the titles now, unless Roxanne is brought in for the Naomi role, but it feels unlikely that they'll do that again so soon. So send in speedy recovery vibes to Liv, because the women's division is certainly a poorer place without her in it. Anyway, let's get to it. Let's dive in and review the SmackDown that aired on June 20th from Grand Rapids. And we start tonight with Joe Test telling us that we have the semi-finals of the King and Queen of the Ring tonight. So we've got Randy versus Sammy and Bliss versus Asuka. And that's a fun match. I think we see Solo arriving with JC, who's expecting to welcome back Fatu to the family, much in the same way I expect to win the lottery every week, and he, like me, will likely be seriously disappointed later on in the show, but let's see. And then we have our Truth, and I am loving his new Serious rebrand. He faces Cena tonight. We kick off the show, we get LA Knight making his way to the ring. The crowd, as always, off the chart for him as he talks about Money in the Bank and how Seth and his gang screwed him. He says he couldn't let that slide, so he screwed one of them out of King of the Ring, and then they screwed him out of King of the Ring, so he screwed the other one. That's a lot of screwing, and I hope everyone was able to catch up. He says there is only one way this ends, and that's with him versus Seth right here, right now, and he calls Seth out to the ring. Instead of that, though, he gets Heyman, who does his normal intro routine. He tells the crowd not to boo Seth. Knight shuts Heyman up and asks him why is he here. Heyman says there's a lot of bad blood that's gone down between Knight and Seth. He says with all due respect to Grand Rapids, he is the biggest LA Knight fan of all in the WWE. And Seth has allowed him to say tonight that it's time for him to get the hell out of Michigan, because if he doesn't, something really bad is going to happen to him before the end of the night. Crowd are chanting LA Knight and CM Punk. Knight asks Heyman if he just threatened him, and he calls him a bunch of names, basically everything under the sun, and says Heyman leeches onto any talent with a bit of hype and then moves on. He says he asked for Seth and he got Heyman. Knight says once upon a time he would have punched his wisdom teeth down his throat, but he won't do that ... yet. He says, seeing as he won't give him Seth, how about LA Knight versus Paul Heyman right here, right now? Heyman goes a bit grey, and the crowd are well up for that. Knight turns his back, telling Heyman to take his shot, but instead Heyman predictably scuttles from the ring. Heyman says his statement earlier wasn't a prediction, it was a spoiler, and out come Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. They enter the ring, and start to overpower Knight as they tear apart the announce desk, but Knight grabs a chair and starts swinging at both of them and they back off. That was a decent enough start to the show. The crowd are super into Knight. Heyman's situation is getting a bit old, and I feel bad saying it because he is a legend, but could the Heyman train be running out of steam? So many of the talent recently have brought up how he goes from star to star, leeches onto them, and then leaves. And that's kind of true. I mean, we had Punk, we had Lesnar, we have obviously Roman Reigns, we had Punk again briefly, and now we're on Seth. I mean, it's just like he is grabbing onto the next available gravy train. Kind of true. Backstage, Byron approaches Seth's gang while Heyman is telling them everything is in their favour. He tells them tonight Bronson Reed will fight LA Knight 1-on-1. And now Queen of the Ring semis, and we have Bliss versus Asuka. I'm really looking forward to this match. It should be epic. Wade tells us in his comms that these two have got 9 world championships between them, which when you consider how much talent these two girls have got, doesn't seem like a lot. Anyway, as we kick off, it's pretty much even Stevens as they trade moves, and after 13 months, Asuka doesn't seem to have lost too much. And the same for Bliss. To be fair, she was gone for even longer, and she's back and she has been on a real tear. Bliss getting in some brilliant offense, getting herself a close 2 count. And then we got Asuka fighting back with a striking attack and a German suplex, getting herself a 2 count. And we're still pretty much even Stevens. Bliss almost hits Sister Abigail, but Asuka counters and Bliss takes a kick to the head, which, given that Bliss had all that time out with concussions, etc., if you haven't seen the WWE documentary that follows her for a whole year, WrestleMania to WrestleMania, then have a look, because the story of her concussion and her recovery from that. Anyway, Bliss taking kicks to the head always makes me slightly nervous in the same way that it used to for Daniel Bryan. Anyway, Bliss hits a DDT, forcing a kick out from Asuka at the very last minute, and the crowd are chanting, "This is awesome," and they are right, this is an absolute banger. Bliss goes up for Twisted Bliss, but figures that Asuka was playing possum, leading to Bliss getting caught in the Asuka lock, but she manages to break it. Bliss then, with a beautiful drop kick, follows with Twisted Bliss, but Asuka gets her knees up this time and hits her new finisher, which is called Empress Impact, and gets herself the win. I thought this was an absolute banger. I expected these two women, both with so much still to offer. Thank goodness they're both back in the company and back working. I could have, to be honest, seen this go on for another 5 or 10 minutes. It was that good. Probably right that Asuka picks up the win and moves on to the finals, as she is just back and she's obviously getting momentum going. I don't think it does Bliss much harm to take the loss to Asuka, and hopefully WWE continue to use her well, as they have been, to be fair to them, since she's been back. And I really hope that she gets some kind of title run. She so deserves it. But all in all, double thumbs up from me. Great match to start off with tonight. So will it be Roxanne Perez or Jade for her in the final? We go backstage. We have Jade, B-Fab and Michin watching the match. B-Fab says it's like Asuka never left. She's back and making statements already. Michin says it's time we make our own statements. Let's go talk to Nick Aldis about the tag titles. So that kind of makes me think that maybe we're ramping up for a tournament for the tag titles. But let's see. Byron then enters after they leave and asks Jade how she feels about facing Perez. She says that she definitely has potential, but this is a throne room, not a proving ground. She says that she is the Storm and she's walking in not just to win, but to reign. This was a nice segment. I'm loving the slightly new, arrogant Jade. And she, those lines, not to win, but to reign. I really enjoyed that. That was good. We go backstage now, and Chelsea approaches Bliss and says, "Hey, little foo-foo, how's your boo-boo?" Which is equally the most stupid and hilarious thing so far tonight. Chelsea says, "Serves you right." She blames Bliss for her missing out on Queen of the Ring. Before Bliss can answer, we get Charlotte Flair coming along, who says, If anyone should have been Queen of the Ring tournament, it should have been her. If Alba had have tapped out. Flair says she's going to make things right and tap Chelsea out tonight, so looks like that's a match for later. And Bliss tells Charlotte she doesn't need her help. A bit of an odd shoehorned in section. I'm guessing to get the action between Chelsea and Charlotte in that should have gone down last week but didn't. Maybe there's an angle to develop that isn't obvious right now. Otherwise, I guess they could just be filling in advance of a PLE next week. Let's see. In the ring now, and we have Kit from Pretty Deadly already there. No entrance, and in singles action, Wade tells us that Elton is out injured and Kit is facing Aleister Black. Now, if there was ever a complete and total contrast of styles, approaches and general life, this is it. And I think to myself, this is slightly suspiciously weird. And as Black makes his way to the ring, we find out why this has been set up, as before he can get to the ring, Truth starts to beat down on Kit. Truth gets the mic and demands that Cena comes out. He says he is driving, everything is on his terms. He goes back to beating down Kit as officials come out and break things up and calm Truth down. Wade making a big deal on comms about Truth being out of control and unhinged. Black standing in the walkway looking as confused as I'm sure at home we all feel. And it looks like Kit versus Black is off. I personally love that they are working the angle that Cena has made Truth pretty much lose his mind. And then we go backstage where Black has Truth and asks him why he's getting involved in his matches. Truth says nothing personal and they stare off. Priest comes along and says he's going through a lot to Black and basically warns him off Truth. He says to Truth that he can't act like that and all the anger and negativity should be focused on Cena. He tells him to go handle his business and then the two of them can go downtown and celebrate. And then we get Cody out. This is to Nick Jacob Fatu's expression. All gas, no breaks tonight. We're literally from one thing to the other. So out comes Cody and the crowd go absolutely nuts. Before he can speak, we get Jay out. Of course, these two face each other in the other semi for the King of the Ring. After an insane amount of eating, and then we have to go through it and do it all again. It's too much. We finally get to it. Jay says him and Cody have been in the trenches and still are in the trenches, from fighting family to holding tag team titles to both finishing their stories. But this Monday, there's only room for one of them. He says he knows Cody will bring it, and he knows that it's not personal, it's business. He says after Monday, it will be all yeet. They hug it out, and then we get Sammy out. And he's in the match coming up. He's got his semi. And we still haven't heard of Cody, despite him standing there with a mic. Sammy's got a mic and says this is so nice that he gets to share the ring with two of his great friends, two of the very best in the business. He says he's aware that of the three of them, he is the only one who hasn't held the gold. He says he was there at Mania for Jay, and he's so proud of him. He says to Cody, when you finished your story, he was the first one to congratulate him, and he's proud that he finished his story. And he says he hopes the other two understand that now it's his turn to finish his story. And before anyone can reply, still not had a peep out of Cody, we get Randy out. Randy gets the mic and says to Cody, he wants to remind him, because we've already heard this line, there's no line he won't cross to get Cena at SummerSlam and win his 15th championship. He says to Jay that he respects the hell out of him, but if he's still in his way, it will be RKO, not yeet. He says that he thinks Sammy will definitely be world champion one day soon, but SummerSlam isn't that day because tonight he's going to beat him. And we still never heard a word of Cody. And did you guys hear the rumours on Cody? A couple of other podcasts are alluding to Cody turning heel as early as SummerSlam, apparently. I don't know. I think Cody is so over. I just can't see how they turn him. And maybe that's part of why he never got to speak tonight, do we think? I mean, let's see. I'd love to know what you guys think. Cody heel ? I'm personally not sure. So, with both Sammy and Randy already in the ring, this one kicks off, and honestly, I don't even know who I'm rooting for. I would love to see Randy get his 15th title reign, and it would be cool, but I think maybe SummerSlam is a bit too early for Cena to drop the belt. These guys know each other well, and it starts off pretty even, with Sammy showing some good moves and seems to be annoying Randy and gets a typical Viper poke in the eye for his trouble. Sammy returns the favour and the gloves are well and truly off. No love lost as Randy slams Sammy into the announce desk and again as the crowd ask for one more time. Sammy trying to rally, but he's on jelly legs. He mounts a fight back, going for Blue Thunderbomb, but is caught by Randy, who hits a scoop power slam, followed by a draping DDT, and Sammy wisely rolls out of the ring to avoid the RKO. Sammy then repays the favour and drops Randy on the announce desk, and Randy smashes his shoulder into the ring post. Randy gets a close cover, but Sammy kicks in 2.5. Sammy finally manages to hit Blue Thunder and gets his own close pin on Randy. Randy hits an RKO off a failed haluva kick and gets the pin to take the win. So Randy through to the final. And this was another great match. We really are getting some dream matches out of this year's King and Queen of the match. Queen of the Ring, sorry. So what do we think? Randy versus Cody at the final? I mean, wow, yes please. Next up, and nothing good lasts forever. We've got Nia Jax yawn on her way to the ring. Nia out to huge boos. Says it's crazy that Tiffy approached her to ask her to take her under her wing, as she knew exactly what she could do for her. And what does she get? Tiffy betrayed her. Before she can go on, we are saved by Tiffy. As her music hits, she comes out and tells Nia she's like a toxic ex she just can't get away from, which I think is the best line ever, and I so agree, and thank God she said it. She says she makes excuse after excuse, and when is she just going to realise that she is better than her? Nia says, if you're so much better than me, give me my rematch. Tiffy says it's official, she's already sorted it. Next week it's you and me, and it will be a last woman standing match. Nia goes to attack Tiffy, but Tiffy moves. Nia ends up though with the upper hand and holds the title up to absolutely massive boos. So if it is true, and I guess we'll see if Triple H and the team really do take any notice of crowd reactions, because Nia were holding up that title. There was a hell of a lot of boos. I don't think that is what the people want. So let's see. We get Naomi out with the briefcase. She looks like she's about to cash in when Nia interferes and stops her. Tiffy takes them both out and ends up standing tall with her title. So what do we think? This last woman standing match next week. Does Naomi then cash in on the winner? Will she be stopped by Jade? And do we have our first ever failed women's cash in? It's got to happen at some point. Can't have a 100% record for all of time. I really hope it isn't Naomi though. She deserves a run. This heel persona that she's got going on is really good, and I hope she gets her just reward for that. So I hope she's not the first failure. Next up, we've got Chelsea versus Charlotte, and it feels like we're very female heavy tonight, not complaining. I'm glad we are building seemingly to some great matches at Evolution 2. And I also wonder if we're getting a bit of a, sorry, we're off back to Saudi where they don't really like women. This should be interesting. There has to be an angle here with these two, but what? The crowd, predictably, are firmly behind Chelsea, and she starts off strong with the Secret Service getting involved early on. Wade on comms telling us that in her career a lot of things have gone in Charlotte Flair's favour. I mean, no shit, Wade. She is the ultimate Nepo baby. Thanks to some help from the Secret Service, Chelsea is in control. Charlotte making a fight back though with her trademark chops as she mocks the Secret Service with a salute. She gets herself a 2 count on Chelsea. She goes for the figure 8, but Alba distracts, allowing Chelsea to hit a massive lariat and get a 2 count of her own. Charlotte hits a big spear, goes for the cover, but Chelsea once again kicks. This one wraps up as Charlotte finally manages to lock in the figure 8 and bridges, and Chelsea taps in super quick time. Niven breaks the figure 8 after the tap and the Flair victory with a huge senton right across Flair that looked quite painful. And the beatdown commences, only to have Bliss show up and hit Sister Abigail on Chelsea to stand and fight for Flair. At the end, Bliss holds out her hand to Flair, but classless Flair ignores her and leaves the ring. Don't do it, Bliss. Walk away and forget Flair. That's what I say. I guess, though, we are being led to a Bliss-Flair team-up at some point. I don't think the crowd will take the teat of this one. Alexa is so over, and Flair just so isn't. I don't see how it could work. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Are they going to keep on ploughing this furrow, or are they going to give it up for a bad job? We now go backstage, where JC is taping up his hands. Solo tells him he won't need to take out Jacob. He's going to go alone. And will talk to Fatu himself, but he tells JC just to be ready. So clearly not so confident that he can persuade Fatu to join his gang again. Solo comes out to a disappointingly muted response, and he tells Fatu that he's all alone with open arms and wants to talk to him face to face and clear the air. Fatu comes out to a great pop. Solo tells him that he didn't come out to fight him. He says he loves him no matter what. He says he learned from being tribal chief how to love and take care of your family. He says families fight all the time, but then they forgive and move forward. He says he wouldn't do that with Fatu. He says he was the only one who saw potential in him. He says he was the only one who wanted him. And he was the one that brought him in to WWE and changed his life. And he did all that because he loves him. He says he doesn't have anyone else. Fatu is all he has and all he needs. And he asks him to come back to the family. Fatu says, "You love me, really?" ? And that's what it comes down to. He says, "The way I see things, you've been using me to gain power and to fight your battles, and so that you could stay tribal chief." He says, "You brought me in so I could bring you fame and gold." He tells him to look at him when he's speaking to him, and the crowd cheer big time for Fatu. He says ever since he won the title, Solo's been acting different. He says he isn't the problem is the title. He lays it down in the ring and says, "Fight me for it." He says, "If you ever think of coming for me, you know what I'm about." Solo tries the spike, but his hand is caught by Fatu, and then we get JC attacking him from behind, and they start to beat down on Fatu, but everything is broken up by Jimmy's music, and he comes down to the rescue of Fatu. JC and Solo soon overcome Jimmy, but Fatu rises from the dead, Undertaker style, and smashes Solo and JC again. He eyeballs Jimmy, who came in to help him, and they seem to have some kind of an easy alliance there. So, well, here, battle lines well and truly drawn. Looks like we will get Solo versus Fatu for the title, and with Jimmy in Fatu's corner, as if he needs the help. Love the storyline. Love Fatu. He is an absolute beast. We now have LA Knight versus Bronson Reed, and we start off with Knight coming through the crowd instead of down the walkway and taking out Bron Breakker at ringside. As the bell rings, with Knight in the ring with Reed, putting up a good display, but it's not long till the power of Reed pays off, and this really is a battle of Reed's power versus Knight's quickness. Knight hits a lovely bulldog off the top rope on Reed, but before he can follow up, Reed rolls out of the ring. Knight follows him out, hitting a big crossbody and looks to be in a decent place. Knight hits his elbow off the top and manages to get himself close to count. He goes for a BFT, but no dice, and gets a massive headbutt from Reed instead. This one ends in a DQ finish as Bron Breakker steps up and spears Knight in the ring, and now we get a huge beatdown from Bron and Reed. Knight absolutely squished by two tsunamis and another spear, and no one's coming to help Knight as he gets yet another tsunami delivered. So I'm guessing that's probably Knight off TV for a few weeks. This was a good match until the DQ. Following beatdown, I guess we are being shown how no one can stop Seth's gang. Certainly looks that way, and I guess once Seth gets the title back, that will be unlocked for the foreseeable future until one or both of these guys turn on him. No Seth here tonight by the looks of things, which is interesting in itself. We've got Heyman very clearly in charge. And then we get the news that I had assumed that this was going to be a double taping, but no, there's no pre-recorded show after this SmackDown. As we get told next week, it's coming directly from Saudi, and we've got a couple of great looking matches on the card already. We get a promo from Fatu. It's short and sweet. He says he spoke to Nick, and there is a title match at Night of Champions between him and Solo. And now we've got Cena versus Truth billed as tonight's main event, as well it should be. Truth looks mean with all his hair cut short, and he looks like he means business for sure. There's no what's up on the way to the ring tonight at all. And as this one kicks off, we've got Cena doing his normal posturing and fake standing and listening. He's attacked by Truth and looks a little bit caught out. Truth has him on the outside and is off to a really good start. We go for a break at that point, and as we come back, Cena's in charge and looks to hit the 5-knuckle shuffle on Truth, following up with an AA, but Truth wriggles out of it and gets back on the offence. Cena grabs the title and goes to leg it from the match, and Truth follows him up the walkway, and Cena smashes him in the head with the title, causing a DQ finish, and that brings out Punk. Yay! Punk on SmackDown. He goes to start on Cena, and the two face off in the middle of the ring. He grabs the title, and I can't be the only one that thinks that looks so great on Punk. Please let that be a little snapshot of the future. Cena with a low blow leaves Punk laying, and Cena follows up with his now trademark move, smashing Punk in the head with the belt. Cena not done though, as he goes for the table and gives Punk an AA through it. He grabs the mic and tells Punk he hopes he's comfortable and that he can listen. He's got a load of stuff to get off his chest. He says he doesn't hate him. He says he likes him. But he hates the idea that Punk is the best in the world, as he isn't. Cena is. He calls Punk the best bullshitter in the world, and he calls over Stu and says the show is off the rails now and he is breaking the fourth wall. He says he's jealous of Punk and how he has fooled all the people that he's the best in the world. They chant for him, they sing for him. He says Punk changes his values as much as Cena changes his t-shirts. He mentions a bunch of other wrestlers. I didn't catch all the names, but I did hear Nick Nemeth, who I think is Dolph Ziggler. And he says that Punk used the hard work of others to get where he is. Cena says that no one backstage has got the balls to cut his mic to save Punk. He says that since the Pipebomb, what has Punk done? That he isn't the voice of the voiceless anymore. He's a millionaire. He says that his tweets are strong, but his actions are weak. He says for 25 years he had no days off. Well, that's not true at all. I mean, maybe not from his other endeavours, but he certainly had many, many days off from WWE. He says that in Saudi he will prove he is the greatest of all time. And he tells Punk to bring his A game to Saudi as the mood is starting to change. And I think maybe he might be right, actually. It did feel like Cena wasn't getting as much heat and as much indifference as he has been over previous weeks. I think the feud with with Punk, has done him a lot of good. We go off air with Cena holding the title next to Punk's body, and he tells USA to keep the final 2 minutes. He doesn't need them. And then we get some, what I assume is fairly hastily thrown together recaps from the comms team and the production truck of some videos of what preceded this. I mean, blimey guys, that felt real. I guess that's what we should expect from a feud with these two. Cena absolutely annihilated Punk on the mic tonight, and I wonder how much truth there is in what Cena was saying. Feels like it was coming from a place of truth, or I'm an absolute mark being worked well and truly properly. Next week's SmackDown, and then into Night of Champions is already looking pretty awesome. Cena, Punk is on fire, as is the Kings and the Queens of the Ring Tournament, and another good show tonight. Highlight of the show was definitely Cena's promo on Punk. You just do get the impression that he is saying some things that have been bottled up for many, many years, and someone has just had the balls to say, do you know what? Fine, go for it. Have at it. Have a live mic. Have live TV and Netflix, and let's see where we go. I wonder how far he's going to be allowed to go. Anyway, I'm off to enjoy the heat wave we have in the UK at the moment. Remember, follow me on Twitter. I want to hear your opinions of tonight's show, and I also need to hear your Mount Rushmores. Keep them interesting. Let's see what you guys think. Anyway, that does it for this week's show. Thanks for having me in your ears, and remember, until next time, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.